And thank you so much for joining me again. This is number 8 in my series of When You Only Have Half an Hour. Now, I did take a little bit longer than half an hour to make this card, but it's only because I chose to do a few extra steps that you don't really need to do. So if you haven't got the time, I'll be sharing with you along the way how you can do this card in probably less than half an hour. So I'm getting started with a standard UK size card base, which is just an A4 piece of card chopped in half and folded in half. And I'm using some low tack tape. Now, if you've got washi like this brown one, that could work. Just be careful because washi tape is quite a bit stickier than post-it note tape. So the pink roll is basically a solid roll of the post-it note tape. You could also use post-it notes by just lining them along the edge of your card like this. Or you could use the actual post-it note branded tape, which I purchased ages ago, and it cost me an absolute fortune. So I tend to use this stuff from AliExpress, which is this pink roll here. I'll link it down below for you. I buy in bulk because I have to pay shipping on it. And so I find it gets a bit cheaper overall, and it costs me around £1 a roll, or £1.20 a roll, I think, roughly, when I include all the shipping and everything in it. But I'll link it down below for you. What I'm doing now is I am lining the edges of my card. So I want the inside of my card to be exposed, but not the outside edge. So I'm kind of taping off that outside edge. I do struggle with this a lot. I don't know how some crafters do it, but it's really hard to see through the tape and get a nice even line on all the edges when you're covering up that edge. So I do struggle with it a bit and take a bit more time to kind of make sure I get this right, because I don't want to have all my tape on, do my whole technique, remove the tape, and then discover I've got a nice really wonky card. So I do spend a bit more time on that, which was probably one of the most time-consuming bits of this whole card. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it in my stamp platform so that I can stamp a couple times if I need to. I want to make sure that I get the full image nice and beautifully. I've got this stamp set from Jane Gill, and it is the 5 Daisies stamp set. I'm not sure if it's available anymore or not, but I will do my best to link it down below for you. And all I want is just a background image. If you've got little stamps, use those. If you've got a nice solid image, you can use that. Whatever you've got in your stash, this will work super easy for. I picked up some new embossing powder, so I'm trying it out. It's a holographic sparkle embossing powder from Wow, and so I'm really excited to play with it. And I'm using my anti-static powder bag on my card first, so I don't get any of that embossing powder where I don't want it to go. I want those details to really shine through from the stamp, so I want to make sure that I don't end up with embossing powder where it shouldn't be. So I've gone ahead and I've stuck down my Versamark ink, and I've done it twice just to make sure I've got nice good coverage, and I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to fold back these edges. Now the reason I'm folding them is that when I apply my heat gun, I sometimes find that the heat gun kind of warps my post-it note tape, and then it kind of starts to peel off my card. So I thought if I wrap it around, it'll make it easier for it not peeling off. And then I also don't end up wasting any of that embossing powder on the back of that post-it note tape. It's not going to stick to the back of it when I do this little bit here. This is a bead tray, I believe. I'll link it down below for you. Craft Stash sell them. I think they're in pink now. They're really, really handy tray to have for embossing powder. I've been told by other countries that have a very dry climate like Australia that those trays are a total nightmare because all the powder just sticks to it and the static's really bad. Here in the UK, I'm absolutely fine with it. Now, because this embossing powder has got glitter in it, I'm heating it from the back first. I want to make sure that I start to melt the embossing powder before I put my gun to the front, because I find if you put the gun on the front first with glitter embossing powder, it blows away, which is a bit of a nightmare. So now I'm going to unfold all that tape so that it's nice and sticky again. You can see that holographic shine is amazing. I'm totally obsessed with holographic stuff at the moment, aren't I? I've been buying holographic stuff left, right, and center. I love this embossing powder. It was really fun. It is very glittery. You can see it's all over my hands. And I did end up with a lot of glitter coming off, but there was still loads left when I was done. So all I've done is stuck it down to my work surface, and now I'm applying some ink. You could go fun and funky and kind of go ombre or whatever you feel like doing. You could do some ink blending. All I'm doing is inking over the whole entire image in this light purple, and then I'm coming in with a smaller tool and doing the centers of the flowers with extra ink so it's a bit darker. Now I'm going to go ahead and wipe off the excess ink off of the embossed areas. And you'll see my ink pad in a second is completely holographic. And all I do to get rid of that, because it's a nice firm ink pad, is to rub it with my microfiber cloth, and it got rid of pretty much all the glitter. You can still see lots of glitter on my card, so lots came off, but there's still lots there. I have these amazing, gorgeous images. They are from Marta. She has a Facebook page. She's got a shop. She is in Ireland, I believe. And she has done some digital papers. She's got a couple that are for free. And then these ones are the ones I paid for. They were only like €3, not much at all, €3 or €5, I can't remember. You can print onto vellum if your printer allows, and you get these beautiful kind of see-through images. You can print onto any kind of cardstock that your printer will take. And they're just stunning, beautiful images. So I'm going to go ahead and use one of these. Now, if you haven't got a printout or you don't have an image that you can pull from online, then, dig through your stash because you've probably got something in there. And I'll share with you at the end a whole bunch of different kinds of things that would work for this super easily that you might have already in your stash that you just haven't thought of. So I'm going to go ahead, I fussy cut it out, and I kind of skipped through that really fast because I find fussy cutting so deathly boring. Fussy cutting was actually the longest process in this whole thing. Had I not done it, I would have been done way before half an hour was up. Now I've gone ahead and inked all the edges in black using a permanent black pen. It just helps to make your image look more defined. I've got this embossing powder, which is it's called Melt It, and the idea is that you can use it with embossing powder and you can create essentially like silicone kind of elements, or I don't remember what it's called, I'm trying to think here, enamel kind of elements, but with this embossing powder. And I'm just using it to cover the whole entire butterfly. I just wanted it to be shiny and glossy. I felt like it needed a bit of pizzazz because I printed it off on just plain cardstock, and I wanted it to kind of pop a bit more. This is the star of my card. I really want it to shine, and I decided to actually have it shine. So I'm going ahead and adding 3 layers of this embossing powder, and it is powder. It is not like normal embossing powder. It's like proper, really super fine, but it works a treat, and it made a really nice shiny top, and I was able to mold it and bend it a bit to kind of give some shape to the butterfly. I have a whole ton of metallic thread. I'll link these down below. I bought a whole nother bundle of these recently. They were from AliExpress. I got them for around £5, I think, including the shipping. And you just kind of get one of every color apart from black, and they're all shiny metallic threads, and they're just such a nice compact version. I was buying these like massive embroidery ones before, and they just take up so much space, and I'll never in my life get through all of them. So I thought I wanted these little ones so I could keep them on my desk. So they are brilliant and perfect. And this is one of the techniques I love to do when I kind of want something in the background but I don't know what to do. I just bundle up a wad of thread and stick it right on the back. So this kind of didn't go too well because I didn't let the thread kind of unwind a bit before I wrapped it around my fingers, so it kept wanting to twist up. And all you do is stick a glue dot on the back of your image and then just kind of work with the thread and play with it until you get a nice pattern that you like. And then you just stick it down on your card. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and add some dimensional stickers onto the back of it so I can pop it up. And I did forget that I wanted to pop my wings up a little bit, so I just kind of cut off a bit of that foam tape on the edges, and I ripped the cardstock a little bit, so I just stuck a little bit of glue under there to make sure it all sticks together. I didn't rip through the cardstock, but I ripped it when I was pulling up that tape. Then I went through all the sentiments I already have ready on my desk. These are lovely little sentiments that I keep on my desk all the time, and I just rummage through them, find what's useful, and I go for it. So the ones on the top are from Apple Blossom, from a paper pad that I had. I just cut them out. These ones are tailored expressions, dies and stamps that coordinate. And I just love having little sentiments that sit there ready to go, and it makes it nice and quick and easy to put together. But a lot of your paper pads will have sentiments like this, which will be really useful as well. So I still felt like it needed more bling, and I decided to get out some of my sequins. These are from Alina Crafts on AliExpress, and they are just iridescent clear sequins. So I put down some glue, and then I go in and I add the sequins on top using my homemade picky up tool, which is just blue tack on the end of a stylus, and it works a dream. And that is my finished card. So if you have not got a printout of a butterfly to cut out, or you don't have the time to fussy cut, then you might have some giant flowers in your stash. You might have some other pre-die cut out bits like this one here. I picked this up from The Range in the UK. And it's just a foil card. It's all pre-cut out, so you could just pop one of those out and stick it on the front of your card. And I picked these ones up from the works ages ago, and I've never used them. And now I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't just start with these, because they're gorgeous. And they're just so cheap, and you can find things like this all the time if you're looking. A lot of home sections will have things like butterflies for your wall, and you could use those. If you get the butterfly stickers for your wall, you could just stick them down on card and then cut them out of the card. A lot of ephemera packs will have really cute little beautiful images in it as well, and it'll have the sentiments in there for you also, so it would save lots of time. So this is a great way to make a quick and easy background that stands out and pops with a beautiful focal point element that you probably already have in your stash. So thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you on Saturday night for some Saturday night crafting. See you soon. Bye.